I have literally been talking with my microphone off this whole entire time. I'm such a damn rookie at this. You would think after what, 250 spaces, if not more, I would know to turn my own damn microphone on. So let's try that again. I guess practice makes perfect. Welcome, friends. I'm Sherry Pluskota, your host, and I'm happy you're joining me live or listening at a future time. I appreciate you and thank you. Welcome to my co host, Donna Morton. How are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you, Sherry. How are you?
I'm good. Always starting out with a little laughter. I like it. Love it, love it. Let me finish the business at hand so we can get started with our guest. Many thanks to my sponsor, Elevated Results. If you need a tailor made workout plan to help you lose weight or gain weight, Elevated Results can design that plan. Follow them on Twitter and check out their site at elevatedresultspt.com. Also, a reminder that you can find the recordings of my past spaces, including our daily WSOP coverage and all the interviews we've done on my YouTube channel at Sherry Pluskota 9212. I'd like to also welcome Karen to the panel. How are you, Karen?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. And I'm going to go right into the introduction of my guest. I'm so excited he's with us tonight. Drew is originally from Pennsylvania, but now calls Texas his home. He is an ACR poker team pro. Drew is also a streamer and digital creator. He has a total live earnings of over 400,000 on Hendon Mob with his best live cash over $69,000 for his 72nd place finish in the in the 2023 WPT World Championship, which is a $10,400 buy-in event. And those numbers on the mob include 6 WSOP caches, 3 circuit caches, and 1 international cache. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've been sick in bed the last 3.5 days, so I really didn't look up your winnings online, but I know they're plentiful. So um, please, you guys, help me welcome Drew Gonzales to our space this evening. Hey, Drew. Drew, are you there? Am I the only one that can't hear him?
I can't hear Drew either.
Drew, you have to be on your phone and nothing connected to it except like a charging cord works the best. So we'll give you a few minutes to figure that out. And if that doesn't work, you can leave the space and come back in. Sometimes it's just Twitter acting crazy. We cannot hear you, Drew, if you are speaking to us. There he is.
Can you hear me?
Yes. How are you? Welcome.
Good. I thought I was being smart and I had AirPods in, and
Yeah.
they didn't work. So
No worries. No worries at all. Yeah, we have found that out in the past. It's just by trial and error. Is this your first time in a space, or have you been in one before?
I've listened to a bunch of spaces before,
Awesome.
and as far as like speaking in them, I've spoken one or two, but not many.
Awesome. I asked that question because I would have given you a tour around the toggles, as they say, to get you familiar with the sound effects and emojis and all that stuff. So you're an old hag at it, so I don't need to waste either one of our time. So I want you to meet Donna and Kieran, who's on the panel tonight so far. So welcome.
Hello, ladies. Good to be here. Hope you're having a
Hey,
good
Hi.
time.
Drew.
Yeah, we're looking
Finally,
forward to
we
the
speak.
interview.
We are looking forward to getting to know you better. And I'm sure we can all agree there's a little bit of a white elephant in the room tonight, but I invited Drew here so we can get to know him, celebrate him, and pick his brain. That being said, the white elephant will be brought up later. But first, Drew, we're going to get to know you. How did you start in poker?
I started in poker. I was in college actually, and I was I was the boyfriend on the other end of like a messenger. My girlfriend was going to a different college, and we were on the computer, just like always talking.
Right.
And I remember I came up for air one day, and my roommates, there was three of them. They were playing poker. I didn't know what it was, but they had the 2003 main event, that Moneymaker one. They had it on TV, and they were playing with bottle caps. And I remember I came out and I was like, what are these guys doing? And then I kind of somehow got sucked into it from there, and immediately just kind of really grew fascinated with the game, very much so
Right.
just recreationally. For a long time, I just enjoyed competing. I enjoyed the gamble. I enjoyed sometimes getting money back.
I love that. I don't know. Did you play, like, I grew up in Chicago, and so we spent many a winter days playing cards like Pinochle and Canasta and Spades. Did you grow up playing a lot of those games or no? Or
Not so
cards?
much. I played rummy with my mom and my grandmother. I don't know if that's a Filipino thing, but I only played rummy with like the Filipino side of my family, so I feel like it kind of is.
Right.
But that was pretty much it, though. I would
Yeah,
say rummy.
we loved Rummy too. We played anything. I'm going to tell you, if you said, Sherry, let's go play, marbles, I'd be in. Like, I'm just so competitive. I want to play, I want to do it. Whether I can, that's, a different subject. But tell us how you came up with the bet on Drew.
All right, I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you the story on this one. It's a little bit of an immature story at the start of it, but then it kind of comes back to where we're at now. And the first name that I had when I found out about online poker and I made my first names, it was based off of this like play on words from when I was in college. And my very first online name was Drew Peacock.
All
Okay.
right.
And if you say it yourself out loud, like anyone who's like not speaking right now, just say Drew Peacock, but say it at a normal speaking pace out loud, and you'll see kind of the play on words. And
I love it.
yeah, there you go.
I love it. And you know what? That's kind of the way the best like things come up, right? Just organically, and all of a sudden now you're on to bet, bet on Drew. I love it. I love that so much. According to your website, betondrew.com, you've played poker in over 10 countries. What is your favorite poker experience outside of the United States?
Hmm. I'm a little bit biased. I feel like my opinion is going to be based off of just like places that I had a lot of friends,
Sure.
I think, there, but I don't want to take away from some of the stops, right? Like I really enjoyed my trip to London when I got to go there like 2 years ago, 2023. I thought that the city, the feel, it was different. You walk everywhere. We walked a ton when we were there. The food was different, and it's just like a different
Right.
world for me.
Well, Donna will be
Uh,
happy to hear that because she lives outside of London in the northern part of the UK. So she's happy that you're giving her lovely town of London a shout out, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah, it was very memorable, and I have some good memories playing down in Uruguay now for the ACR series that runs down there, and
Right.
that's a lot of just like friends that are down there, and it's a really nice casino. They have like a big poker area, so it's not overly crowded. It's kind of just like a perfect speed. So I really like that as well.
Is there any place you would never go back to?
Hmm. Places I would never go back to. No, I don't think so. Nothing comes to my mind because it's all kind of just like different experiences, right?
Right, right. Absolutely. Well, that's a good thing because, all of us can say we have friends that travel and, we've all heard people say, I would never go back there. I would never do that again. Even going to the Bahamas for the WSOP, I've heard people say it's such a pain in the butt to get money in and out. It's just not worth it, and that's their experience. And then other people, they're like, hey, it was fantastic. I can't wait until next year. So it's all subjective too, right?
Yep, for sure.
Absolutely. You consider yourself a mentor in the poker community. Please tell our listeners what you think makes you a mentor. What do you do to mentor in the poker community?
I would say if I think anything mentor wise with me, I try to be. I haven't been really doing poker coaching in quite a minute. I've been busy with other stuff, but whenever I turn on my stream, I do kind of feel a sense of I want to be a good example. I want to kind of be like an energy that helps people calm and just chill. You could watch it and my stream and learn some poker. Hopefully, I talk through a lot of my hands and yeah, just if anything, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a poker mentor. I haven't been getting into coaching, but when I speak on my stream, I try to share my experiences pretty openly. I don't hold too much back if someone asks me a question. So I feel like if anything, mentorship, I feel like trying to just be a good poker player, good person, uh, within whatever poker experiences I get to have.
Right. And I'm going to tell you, of course, when I have a guest on, I have to basically stalk them for a few days to get some content so that I can ask some halfway intelligent questions. So, I've probably watched more of your content in the last 3 days that I've been down and not feeling well than I have probably in the last year. And it's been great. I'm going to tell you, it's been great kind of catching up on your content. And I stumbled across um, your recording with Matt Affleck coaching you and going through um, some of your leaks in the game, so to speak. Now, it is a lengthy clip, and I haven't been able to watch the whole thing. But what I have watched, um, I'm very impressed with your whole approach. You humbly take the criticism and the good. And a lot of times, I read a book once called From Going from Good to Great. And in that book, it talks about being able to listen without being insulted or defensive when
Mhm.
people are coming to you with facts and how you grow from that. So, what, besides his recommendations of specific leaks to be um, shored up, what did you feel you got out of that experience of coaching with him as you being the student?
Right, right. I think Matt's a great player, and you could tell in that video just how just his approach, the way he communicated it to me, he just had such a grasp and a foundation and an understanding of what he was saying. That for me stood out a lot. The confidence that just came across because I felt I've gotten a lot of coaching over the years and hired probably 10 to 15 coaches to coach me. And he's definitely towards the top as far as his confidence and the way he delivers and kind of listens to you. It really engaged me. And it made me want to not only be like a better student, but it also made me want to be a better, be able to communicate what I know even better, right? Like he just
Right.
did it well from like a coaching standpoint. I was really impressed because there's a lot of poker coaches out there who mean well, but I feel like going into a poker coaching session, it's not just here's my rate, pay me that, and then let's fire up a hand history and start talking. I think it's much more of you have to diagnose the patient, understand where they're coming from, where it hurts, and then you can go into a session. And he did some of that pre stuff with me as well, and just the video in real time was great. And to add to your point, I think it is so important to be able to not get defensive and to be able to just listen and absorb and basically sit outside of yourself and examine with this other person, like this individual. It's not me in that moment, like, okay, this is Drew, the Bet on Drew guy. Like, I know him. Okay. Like, how can we make him better? And I think that's so, so important to just people's progress in poker. And even in so many ways, even if you're not getting direct coaching, it's like being open minded to how other players, even if they're not like an elite player, maybe they're a recreational player, there's still something to learn there. And I think being just like open minded on a pretty broad spectrum is super important to getting better.
I so agree with you. And it was, I can't, honestly, I can't wait to go back and finish listening to it because not only were you letting your guard down and open, and, and sometimes it's hard to let those walls down because, those things may float in the back of your mind. Am I going to embarrass myself? And you can't help but be defensive because you're going naked, and
Yeah.
so to speak. And so, um, not only, and you could see that you were authentic and so was he, and it was just an authentic conversation about improving your game. And there was and even as a listener, it was easy to even let my guard down and listen to the authentic conversation without being like, I want to defend you and what you're doing or defend what he's saying, which a lot of times we do in those types of conversations, right? So
Yep.
I highly recommend to our listeners to listen not only to all the content you put out there, but take in that episode of coaching with Matt Affleck and Drew, because it's a good one, you guys.
I'll drop a link in the
Perfect.
tweet here, the space, so
Perfect.
check it out.
Now, we all, anybody that loves the WSOP has to love the Punters Pad. I mean, come on. And I believe
Uh-huh.
it's the first Punters Pad was in 2021, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Yeah.
was it easy to decide to stay in the Punters Pad?
Um, for me, yeah, but I think for a lot of people, not so much. Like, it's so this is very interesting, and it's a very fun part of my life that's been maybe like low key, but it's like a lot of social games. Like, everyone on this call is a gamer to some extent, right? And the social game, for those of you who watch like Big Brother, Survivor, um, I've been exposed to so many people who played that type of game at like some of the highest levels. And the punter's pad is kind of a social experiment at
Right,
first, but it's a social game in a weird sense. Not that like we're actually out there and we want to work together as a team, so it's slightly different. But understanding the dynamics of being in a house with a bunch of other people, and then how the house flow goes. You understand the different energies within that house. It will determine the flow of the house, and then depending on what type of gear you want to be in during it, right? Like I did. So I did the Thirst Lounge, and there we were kind of forced to just be with a bunch of other people. But inside that house, I was with John, who won Big Brother Canada season 2.
right,
And so he, like, his brain, if you go, from what I understand, if you go through one of those shows, your brain just kind of gets programmed. It does kind of get you a little
right.
bit. And so living with him, Adam Klein, who won Survivor, living with him, and then even my buddy Maddie, who has applied, and Ebony too. I know they're big reality TV people, and you kind of become overly conscious of this dynamic. And anyway, in the punter's pad, I think for a lot of people that can lead to a lot of anxiety and
Sure.
unsureness. But for me, going into the punter's pad and knowing about it, I've already gone through my hazing period. I've already gone through the internship.
Right.
Yeah. So it was easy for me to dig in. I understand my character within that. and I know when John's going to speak up and say something. I know when Ebony's going to come around the corner, like, so I was super comfortable with it and excited
Well, and you
about
could tell you are. You could tell you are totally confident. I watched several episodes this week just like to remind myself, because some of the stuff from 2021 certainly isn't at the top of my brain, right now. And so, I just skipped around and watched some more episodes as reminders of that season or whatever. And I'm going to tell you, I was belly laughing, at some of the stuff you guys were doing is just so like slap happy stupid fun that you just can't,
it.
if you can't enjoy that, you just need to go find a different life. But I'm going to ask you some questions like who's the best roommate?
Who is the best roommate? Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's a really tough question. But I will tell you this. There was one thing that really, really annoyed me when I was living in the Thirst Lounge, and still even at the Punters Pad whenever it would happen. And it's such a me thing. But John would like blow his nose and then like leave napkins around the tissues. And I used to think in the Thirst Lounge, is this some sort of weird power play? Like what is going on
Right.
here? Like how does he not realize that we only have like 20% of the table left for other stuff? Um, and then for a while there, I was like, okay, maybe he's just off day. Let me pick him up. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Like my brain couldn't handle them. But anyway, I love living with John. But that's always the first thing I think of in my head is like, oh, is he going to leave tissues around? I'm damaged. But
Well,
no.
Donna's been my roommate, and unfortunately, I have terrible allergies. So I am a Kleenex user, but I always bring the hotel garbage can right next to my bed because I guarantee I'm going to use at least a half a box of Kleenex when I'm traveling, just because my allergies always act up when I travel. So I can relate to that, but I throw my own away. So there is that. Now,
That's nice.
who is, let's see, what were some of your favorite prop bets while in the punter's pad?
Uh, Geez, I don't know. We did more in the Thirst Lounge. The Punter's Pad. You know what? Actually, my most fun one was Karen. I don't know if you know about this. Karen's still here. Okay, cool. So we were in Vegas one summer, and we were just like thinking of stuff that we could do while we were at the house. And I found out that there was a chess tournament, a big like chess series going on in Vegas at the time. And I'm like a recreational chess player, but I enjoy the thinking behind it.
Right.
And my chemistry teacher, Mr. Bilski, in high school, on like breaks, he would play chess versus whoever wanted to. And I remember I beat him once, and I was like hooked from that moment. But I loved like sitting there and the competition of it. And if poker didn't play as big a part in my life, I would play more chess. It's just such a cool game. And anyway, there was like a series going on in Vegas at I believe Westgate. It's some big chess convention. uh, I'm sure Karen knows, but I went there, and the challenge was that I could not beat uh, or win one game. However, I say that I could not win one
Right.
match. And this is for sure my favorite kind of challenge thing. So on the Punter's Pad video, we made this really fun like montage of my buddy Susan, who is better at chess than me, but he was like coaching me, and it was like a Rocky montage. And then I went to the Westgate, and it was like a $60 buy-in to get into this. I believe it was like a turbo match, but you randomly got assigned, and then if you lost, you played somebody else who like lost, and you kind of like went down.
Double elimination.
Yes,
Yeah,
Swiss.
yeah, and so it felt like a poker series. You would walk in, there's like it's in a big convention center. There was like a gift shop there, a bunch of like chess memorabilia. It was really cool. It was all about it. And then you go in, and there's a bunch of tables with clocks. It felt like a tournament scene, like WSOP, but chess. And long story short, with the bet, I forget exactly how much money was bet, but it was a poker guru who had bet me that I would not win a match and I could flag someone, which means I basically have more pieces in them, but time runs out. Like I beat them, but time ran out. They didn't. It wasn't like a real win, I guess, in a sense.
Karen, you want to comment?
It sounds like um so when was this? Because I played there's the National Open every June, and I played in it when I was just getting into poker, like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. But they have it every June, and it was at the Westgate. Um, but it's at different hotels. It's not always there. But sounds like maybe you were playing Blitz there. Were you were
Yep.
yeah, Blitz tournament. Yeah, it's the Las Vegas Chess Festival. And my husband actually usually at works for the tournament itself. And then I would previously go like when I and play. That's my favorite chess tournament. I love the way they run it and that it's in Vegas. But then I've gotten into poker, so I don't have as much time for chess anymore. But I still play. But yeah, that must be it. Must be the National
Oh
Open.
my gosh, Karen, I hate to cut you off. I played versus your husband. There's a poker tournament that goes after the chess thing he played, right?
Yeah, I played in that too.
Oh, okay. I played that. Yeah,
I
I have
played
video.
that.
Oh, that's so funny. You put video on the Punters Pad. I'm looking at it right now, but yeah, we had talked for a little bit at he Ben is 1322. He's in the video. Anybody who I'll drop the link
Oh,
in
he's in
the
the video?
Perfect. I love
No,
this.
is Ben in the video?
yeah, he
Oh, that's
is.
crazy.
That is amazing. I love this so much.
Yeah, so this is for sure what. So I ended up flagging the lady in my last match, like on my last whatever chance to do it, and I ended up like winning the. Oh no, we pushed. We decided that a flag is a push. So I didn't end up losing, but it was my most fun thing because it was very unfamiliar to me. But I went out there, and even though I knew I was going to make mistakes, I took my hand off the piece before I should have. Like all of these chess things that other people would easily know. I was that guy, like you sometimes see at a poker table for a lot of other people who gets to the table, maybe doesn't know it's his turn or whatever else. Like that was me. I've relived that. And it gave me a certain appreciation for, I don't know, new games. And it was really cool. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, drop
Very
that link.
cool.
I can't. That's so cool that Ben was in was you that in the segment.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I love that so much. It's a small world we live in. We just don't know it, do we?
I know, right?
That's so
The
crazy.
the cool thing I just want to add before you move on from that, the cool thing about that particular chess tournament is they have a poker tournament for all the people at the end of the chess tournament. They have it for all the chess players and friends of chess players and staff. So it's kind of a fun little tournament.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And you're saying you played in that tournament?
I, I played that. That's
Okay.
where I met your husband and we sat next to each other for a little bit. And the one lady, a really nice lady who her and her husband maybe are at the top of the organization, the chess something. Oh, it's in the video. I can't remember her name, but her and I like talked, and she like did a little interview at the end of this video. Let me.
Nice.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I love this so much. I love connecting like this so much. It's so fun. Now, Karen, you're going to see a video you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. All right, let's chat about some of your fellow ACR poker team pros. I'm sure you already know that the guru of poker, Rob Kuhn, is a space cadet and has spent many of hours with us here in Spaces. What's your favorite Kuhn story?
How much time we got here? Let me see. Hang on. Let me go through the list. I don't know. Rob is such a big younger brother, like a bigger brother. He has his moments where he goes from bigger brother to like younger brother.
Right.
And there's a lot of stories with Rob. I don't even know. Oh, you know what? I do. I actually have an answer for this because it just got brought up again recently. There was an amazing moment with Rob where all of us were in Costa Rica for the ACR cage.
Right.
And it was a Saturday night, and a bunch of us had busted or we weren't playing, or actually it bagged early. And there was a huge UFC fight going on. And we had all bet pretty much this one side of fighters. And Rob, he just gets so convinced of things sometimes. He bet the other side. So basically, we were all sweating, anti sweating him, and he was like anti sweating us. And there's this video that we got. I can't remember who recorded it, but basically, the one guy finishes him, and we all win. Like, who was it? It was like me, John, Ryan, probably Train, Nacho, Rob, maybe even Long Car. There was a ton of us there. And it's actually on my Instagram, but there's a video of when we're all celebrating, slapping hands, John's screaming, and then it pans to where Rob is sitting, and his face is just pale, and all you could see is him, like, I know what he's saying in his head too. His eyebrows are going up and down one at a time, and he's saying to himself, geez, like, wow, I just, he's just like short statements to himself in disbelief.
Poor Rob.
Oh, it's
But
so
he does it to himself every
he
time.
does. He really does. It's so funny,
I
man.
mean, even in the Punters Pad, you guys were doing a blind test of hamburgers. And he was convinced that one of the hamburgers that he tasted was White Castle's. And it wasn't even on the list of hamburgers to choose from. It was mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like mind blowing. But anyway, let's move on. I'm very thankful that I got to know Ebony a little better last year when she teamed up with ACR to give away some seats to the 2023 WSOP Ladies event. And I was one of the featured winners. What is your favorite story about Ebony?
My favorite story with Ebs. See, now Ebs and I go back to the beginning of Thirst Lounge 2019 now. So we've had some unique experiences. Let me think. Favorite? Oh, I got it. Oh, I'm getting quick here. I really can't even believe I found this one so fast.
Love it.
My favorite memory with her is when her and I won series events back to back. In 2021, I won a tournament at the Orleans in Vegas, the Thundering Threes, part of their fall series when the WSOP was out there later in the year.
Right.
I won event one, I believe it was, the Thundering Threes, and then Ebony won event two. So,
Oh,
so
that's so cool.
we went back to back, and then you better believe everyone who was around ACR, the event three, me, Ebony, Boski, everyone just firing super hard to try to get the third one, but we didn't. But anyway,
How fun is that, though, to challenge yourself too? That's awesome.
yeah.
That is so cool. All right, I'm going to let Kieran. Do you have any questions or comments for Drew?
No, I've enjoyed getting to know Drew better, and especially hearing the commonalities here. So yeah, I'll have to.
Love it.
But yeah, I don't have a specific question right now.
No problem. I just wanted to take a minute to go around the horn a little bit. John Robertson, please meet Drew and ask him any questions you may have or comments, sir.
No questions at this time. I just enjoyed Stu's content a lot. Like any question I ask would be really nerdy, and I don't think anybody else would want to hear it.
Oh, we always want to hear your questions, John. You don't be shy now.
Well, I think I'm not really a shy person, but I think I would ask Drew, like, who's your favorite Pokemon?
My favorite Pokemon? I do like this question. There's I'll be honest right here in this moment. I have cried over a Pokemon episode before. I was younger, okay? My emotions have grown a little bit. I'm not saying I wouldn't cry again. Actually, I probably might cry more this time at this age. But so I have a soft spot for Pikachu. For anybody who likes, I'm gonna nerd out here. John opened this up. Anyone who remembers when Pikachu and Ash were gonna like leave in the early, like when there was only 100 Pokemon, they were like breaking up. They're standing at the top of this like dirt hill, and they walk their other ways, and it's like a very confusing thing. It's almost like going to this like spot with your dog and saying, "Hey, it's been," and then breaking up with them and walking in the other way. It's like it breaks my heart. And anyway, so I kind of have a connection with Pikachu, but I will say that in the Pokemon games on Game Boys when they first came out, I was picking Bulbasaur first. Okay,
Oh,
that's
interesting.
Oh, I love that. Bulbasaur's my favorite
Yes.
Pokemon. He's absolutely. In my office / gaming room, whatever, I have a Bulbasaur shelf. So all my students know that Bulbasaur is my favorite. So I love that you said that. That's fantastic.
Nice, nice.
Go ahead, Isaac. I know you're biting at the bit. Meet Drew, Isaac.
What's good, Drew? Actually, that's awesome. You said you cried over a Pokemon episode in your younger years. For me, it was the Butterfree episode, yo. I still
Oh,
have trauma. I
that
still
was a
have
tough
trauma.
man. That was a tough one too. I actually cried over more of them than I think I remember because I think I got emotional on that one too. That was sad.
What about
Yeah.
Charmander when his tail was about to go out?
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh man.
that was a sad.
Yeah.
Oh dang, they got us good a bunch of times, didn't they?
I
Yo, the
told you guys you didn't
writers.
want me to nerd out on this, and you're not, nobody besides us is going to care about this. But
It's all right
Oh, I
though.
think
It's
we're
all
all
right though.
enjoying this conversation more than you think we are.
Yeah. Straight up, because it's like listen to these goddamn nerds. But yo, for real though, the when Ash was like no longer a trainer, that shit hurt, yo. Uh, Straight up, when like the original cast, Brock and all of that.
Yeah.
The pain, the pain. Okay, I had another question,
Go
and
ahead,
that's
Dal.
Goku or Vegeta.
You know what? I can't answer it. I don't know enough about Dragon Ball.
Okay, valid.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love it so much. You guys are such babies. But anyway, I love it anyway because
Oh, come on now,
you're
Sherry.
just like we are, sensitive babies. We love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, Donna, any questions or comments for Drew?
Yeah, hi, Drew.
Hi, Don.
Finally, we speak after all this time. How are
Good. I'm
you?
good. And how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, who was the most competitive in the house?
In the Punters Pad house, the
Yeah,
most combative depends on the day here. So I'll tell you guys, John was tough to deal with if he was hungover from the night before. Okay, and I think we can all kind of relate to that. I get it and stuff, but we knew when he was a little bit cranky or he was going to be the next day. But then, I mean, I'm not even putting John at the top because
Don't you think
especially,
DePaulo?
well, it's Ryan kind of like was to himself a lot of the time. Ryan's gear at the house is different than if he's like out. You know when you're kind of like in your home, you can just have
Right.
lower gear. He definitely, because of all the energy he exerts in other spots, he has his down gear, and I think we see a good bit of that. I mean, Ryan doesn't really change too much. His mouth will just keep going, and then he'll catch it afterwards sometimes. But he's honestly, Ryan's got a huge heart. He's like a really good dude and a good friend. But he was easy because he likes to be clean and mind his own like spaces and stuff. So living with him is easy. Um, Sometimes, as far as not even combative, because people don't approach me the same way that they approach other people.
Right.
So
Right.
some of the I don't really have combative situations because people come to me in a different gear because I also come in a different gear. It's kind of,
Right.
one of those things. The tone has been set. Like, oh, you don't have to come at me like that. Like, what's up? But I mean, I talk about John, and I feel like it's kind of like a bro thing. If I bring up stuff for him, I love John. He's one of my best friends.
Right.
But there was times, we highlighted a bit in the last Punters Pad season where, we were waiting on Ebony a lot of the time. Like with a lot of the challenges and stuff that we did, Ebony can be tough to work with depending on what's going on. And sometimes we don't really know, but I would say on the scale of things, like Rob was even sometimes had his moments. It's like it really depends because again, back to the social game, when you put like there's 6 to 8 of us in that house at any time, and the energies, regardless of what we do or how many Drews, let's say, are in the house, the energy is still going to weigh, I think, on everyone else that's in the situation. And I know by the end of the summer, sometimes we were like, oh man, can't wait to go home, or like, oh, we're maybe almost there. The energy at the beginning is definitely slightly different, at least by
Sure.
the end.
Understandably so. Isaac, your hand is up. Is it stuck up or do you have a question?
Yeah. Favorite two cards.
6 8 of clubs.
Wow. Think
And
you know
okay,
what?
speaking of clubs, I heard somebody call that suit the pumpkins. Have you ever heard of that before?
I've never heard it called the pumpkins, but I have heard it called broccoli.
I've heard it called broccoli too, but today I heard, or yesterday, I can't remember when, somebody called it the pumpkins. And I was like, what are they even talking about? And then I stopped and I was like, oh my God, they're talking about clubs. I'd never heard of that. Okay, go ahead, Isaac. Did you have a follow up, doll?
Oh no, I mean just 6-8 is interesting. I see that hand a lot too. The 6-8 of clubs.
It's
Very,
a
very,
nice one.
very exact. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Thank,
Hell yeah.
thank you for that question. All right. I like to play something called rapid fire, Drew. I'm going to give you
Okay.
two choices. Please pick one or you can pass.
Okay.
Gummy bears or chocolate?
Gummy bears.
Mountains or beach?
Mountains.
Cook or do the dishes?
If it's for Hannah, do the dishes. If it's for other people, cook.
Steelers or Eagles?
Uh, I'm gonna say Steelers for one of my best friends, Jamie. It's his team. I feel like I cannot betray him in this moment. But I grew up around Philly, and if Hannah was here, I would have to say Philly. So it's a tough one, but I'm gonna go with Steelers.
We won't tell her. Hot dog or burger?
Hot dog, baby. Give me the glizzies.
Oh my gosh. Have you ever had a Five Guys hot dog?
Probably. I don't miss
Ooh,
hot dogs on menus when they come
I
across my table.
highly recommend it. Um, Summer or winter?
Winter.
Texting or phone call?
Texting. Oh, that was quick.
It was. Comedy or action movie?
Action. Pretty sure action,
Well,
yeah.
thank you for playing that. All right. I promised I'd get to the white elephant in the room, otherwise known, I'm titling it as of right now, Nachogate.
Nachogate.
We all, we definitely respect your need to have a certain stance because of who you work for. So don't feel like any pressure at all. But for me, there's just some red flags that I don't understand. I'm not an online gamer. As a matter of fact, I entered a $2.50 tournament on ACR for the first time a couple of days ago. And like 10 hours later, I was ready to poke my eyes out because I was still in that $2.50 tournament. Happy to say, came in eighth place, but I'm just a social butterfly that wants to play live poker. So believe me when I say there's a lot to online poker I don't know or claim to know. So my questions may be shallow or elementary or plain stupid, and I'm sorry if they are, folks, but y'all know me. So just a little background. Nacho was playing the Venom, and he posted a picture of his screen, and in the background was the GTO wizard. For those that don't know, and of course, there's a little hoopla after that posting, and people are throwing out the cheating word and everything else. Um, and I'm just a little disappointed. I'm going to tell you, whoever does social media for ACR should be fired. They should have learned that from the whole bot thing. If you can make a bot, we'll pay you, to infiltrate our own system. They should have fired everyone on social media that day, but they didn't because, the response to this situation, in my opinion, was just as bad. They made a joke about it that Nacho if you ever played with Nacho, you would know he is not a GTO user, um, which not only insults Nacho, but it's making light of a very serious subject because people are putting money on the line. Um, and Nacho came out and made a tweet in response to a tweet, blah blah blah. As everybody knows how Twitter goes. And his response was was coaching for horses and using the GTO wizard while he was coaching those four horses while he was playing in the Venom. So, do you have some, what comments you want to make about that situation, Drew?
So, I want to say this first is I will share my in my opinion, and of course, I have to keep in mind, and I cannot speak, I do not officially speak for ACR, but I do feel like there is, to some extent, let's say, a point where the people behind ACR know that my intentions are good and with anything I say, but I also want to be real, like with you all, the people. So there is, I see what I do and kind of my role in, with ACR, the poker community and everything is I kind of see I'm positioned with ACR to be a good representative of poker ACR, but also to bridge the gap from operator to players and to have some sort of connection that you all can feel like, oh, okay, something's up with my ACR. Let me reach out to Drew, or not even just from the customer service stance, but just to know that, hey, like I'm behind the scenes with the rest of the team pros trying to help make ACR better.
Sure.
And I will not deny some of the mistakes that ACR has made. And a lot of the other people behind the scenes will not deny it either. I think that we are going to make mistakes and there are going to be some slips. Some things could have been avoided. There's a list, not even trying to be funny, but there's been some mistakes that have been made. You mentioned the 100K video and then now the tweet today. And I will say that pretty much everyone I talked to, as far as ACR ambassadors go, was like, yo, what is this tweet? Like, this makes no sense. This is, I mean, yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is some sort of misfire.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
it's just a misfire. I know that it likely had good intentions. I hope that it wasn't like someone who just got emotional, really likes Nacho, and is just going to stick up because that's not what it should be, right? Because even if Nacho did he made a mistake, right? And
Right.
we'll talk about that.
Right.
But when we make mistakes, just because we are in whatever positions we're in, I don't think to an extent that we should just be, oh, don't worry about it, blah 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 blah.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because it was a very dismissive tweet. And quite honestly, I was like, wait a minute. They're saying if you ever played with him, he would, he doesn't use GTO. And Nacho himself is saying he's coaching 4 horses using GTO. So obviously he knows GTO and uses it. So it's also is a foolish tweet, and it makes the reader, hey, like, do you really think I'm that stupid that I'm gonna be just dismissed with this tweet? Like, we got to do better. We just have to do better.
Right, for sure. And we've been talking behind the scenes. There's a conversation I need to get caught up on, but we've been talking behind the scenes, and I think we're all kind of aware that we could do better. And even like I'm not assuming why Nacho had it up, but what I like to do in these spots is kind of try to produce some other scenarios and then decide how likely that could have been. So one that I came up with was like, okay, if he was indeed coaching his students and everything, he had it up in the background. And a lot of the times I've done it myself too. If I'm doing like a study session or I might have been doing a coaching session and then I'm playing after, there's been times where I went to open up a client and then it's like, oh, you can't open because this is open. Like I didn't even know I had it open.
Right.
Right.
And look,
So,
I think everybody's on board with that. And I
yeah.
am 1,000% innocent until proven guilty. 1,000%. And I say to you, just as a outsider looking in, because I think I've played probably 100 hands, or well, I did play that tournament for many hours, so maybe 200 hands on ACR. I'm just guessing. So I'm no expert, but it is just from the outside looking in. When you read stuff, you're like, okay, I'm not stupid. It's easy to connect the dots here. It doesn't look good, right? It's not good
Yeah.
PR. And guess what? Maybe nothing should have been said until, hey, let us check into this and get back to you, or we don't have all the facts in. And I'm happy with that because I want the facts. Like even Nacho said, he asked for the the data from whatever companies, from the wizard or whatever, to prove what he was doing, and they're looking into that. I think that's the way to go, right? Um, but we also have to hold a high standard, right? Especially for somebody that's representing a company, right? That we want to believe in, we put our money in, we have to trust is doing the right things. And so, um, ACR just missed it with their tweet. I'm telling you, they just missed the whole goal. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. And again, Nacho stated how it went down, and it's tough to debate his intentions. I do have personal experience. I've met Nacho a few times, of course, throughout the course of our ambassadorship. And if I were to have to give some sort of assessment on it, I really do think that he just, had it up. I don't think because he's very smart. Like, we've talked hand histories, and it's just like off the top of his head, especially these guys, I assume, who play these Tritons a lot of the time. They just have a very pretty, quite a solid foundation to their poker thinking and their strategy. But yeah, so poor optics,
Hundred
on
percent,
both.
100%. And another red flag is, red flag for me is he's saying that he's coaching 4 horses using the GTO wizard. So are those horses in the venom, right? Are they in the venom and he's coaching them while they're in the venom?
No, no, no. Honestly, I think because the screenshot, I see what you're saying. In the screenshot, it had tables up, right? Those aren't his students'
I
tables.
know.
Those,
I get that part, but he says in a tweet that he
yeah,
was coaching 4 horses. Now, if you would have just said students, I don't think that would have hit me like the word horses does. So,
mhm,
those horses, are they in the same tournament? Are they playing another tournament currently and he's coaching them during the tournament? To me, that's a red flag. Those words are red flags. Again, could be absolutely perfectly innocent. And guess what? He just made a mistake, had that on in the background. He had just finished using it for something else. Other screens came up and it just happened to be there. 100% logical story. 100%. But then you read the
right,
words that are written and there's just some red flags that just need to be looked into. And I'm sure they are. I'm sure the powers that be are. And I have that they will. So don't misunderstand at all what I'm saying. But when you use the word horses, to me, it means like they're in a game right now and I'm helping my horses. And,
right. So let me actually, I think it could be useful to some of the listeners to make sure that you understand a little bit more about this horses and the way a solver
please,
works and
please.
everything. Because so horses, somebody you back, you pay for their buy-in, whatever percentage, and then they'll go play a tournament, and then when they win, you get a percentage back. So whereas if you're just coaching someone, they're paying you immediately for your knowledge, and then that's it. There's nothing financially you can gain after the coaching session is over. So now with the solver, the way that GTO Wizard works is it is basically a preloaded database with thousands, I don't know, millions, maybe millions. Like, it's a lot of hands and a lot of solves that have been run uh, for a very long time, and then all of that data is taken and put into the GTO Wizard database, and you're allowed to access it instantly. Okay, so basically, but instantly is this now. In Nacho's scenario, if I were to make some assumptions, knowing how a solver works, and basically, so a solver, for those of you who don't know, on GTO Wizard, up top is each position and then the player, and then you can you can define stack sizes, stage of tournament, and a bunch of presets before you even go into the actual hand, right? But now,
Right,
at the top of GTO Wizard, you could basically click, okay, under the gun +1, what was their action? Fold, call, if it was raise, what sizes? and then you go through each player and set up a scenario. Or you can import a hand, which you pull from like a poker tracker or hold a manager HUD. You can import the text data into GTO Wizard, and it will fill in all the actions as they happen in the hand. So as far as people understanding how you access this information in real time, there is, if you're not running a HUD, so you would have to, if you have a HUD and you're pulling the text data, you have to go into your HUD, you have to open the hand details, you have to copy it, then you have to paste it into GTO Wizard, and then you hit analyze, and then it'll take just a second. Sometimes it maybe takes 10 seconds, I feel like, at max, right, for it to process. And then it will show you all the data, and you can click through and see, oh, this person did this, they should have did this. That's how one way to get the data. So the other way is, let's say a situation came up. Now you have to go through the top navigation bar, click what was under the gun one's action. Oh, they raised. Okay, what raise size did they do? And this is after you set the presets of the situation. So if you're actually trying to use this during real time, you have to set the presets to what the average stack depth was, or yeah, pretty much average stack depth was at that hand at that time. So if you're going from one table to another table, you're likely going to have to go back and reset the presets to go like, oh, this was 60 effective big blind. So now you got to do that. Now you start entering, okay, what under the gun one do? What was their raise size? What did next do? Oh, they three bet. What was their three bet size? So it's kind of lengthy what you would have to do. And if you're not using a HUD, that makes it a bit quicker, but you still have to access several other windows in order to import that information. So to give you an idea, for those of you who don't know, that's the process to using a solver. And it is useful in a coaching scenario to develop a baseline for like your understanding of a situation. So that's to give you an idea as
Perfect.
listeners are kind of
Perfect.
collecting this. This is what would have to happen in order for somebody to successfully use this software to cheat. So if for a moment there you might have been catching the picture of, oh, they got these four people playing, oh, check this spot, like a lot of stuff has to happen in order for that to even make sense. And if he was playing at the same time, there's no way he can put his focus on the details he needs to play his own game and to run the solver and to like do coaching with multiple people. That's me having an intimate knowledge with running a solver. I've done the coaching and kind of the mechanics of this whole situation. So
Drew,
with that said,
I
yeah.
love what you just told us. And I say that because there are so many innuendos and rumors and what ifs, and, I'm trying to fuel the fire for the conversation, right? Because the only way to get through the conversation is to look at it from all the angles. And for that information that you just told us, I think is very useful information. So I appreciate you enlightening us. And I just got ASG up here on the panel. Welcome, ASG, and please meet Drew. And if you have any questions or comments, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about what you were talking about and just ask, is there a TOS of ACR that says you can't be using a solver while playing?
I believe so, but let me see if I can pull it up to give you the 100
Yeah,
percent.
I think there is one because I think, I think Blue looked it up a couple of months ago for us.
Well, see, the thing is, I almost wish that GTO Wizard couldn't be accessed from a browser, because I think within the browser, I don't know that the sites or the clients can track like the program list because they can't just close out the browser, right? So I almost wish that GTO Wizard just strictly had an app, because then I feel like it would be easier to fence people out from using it and maybe having it up in the background from earlier. I know they do it for you can't have PioSolver open, or it'll notify you, or like TeamViewer and stuff like that. But I'll look into it. I think that's a good question, because essentially if it says, TOS, that you shouldn't have it up, then that's like violation, something maybe needs to be talked about, done, like.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Blue looked it up a couple months ago, and I can't remember word for word. So let's just make sure we look it up, you guys. Because you guys know me, I don't like to misquote, and I love the fact that Drew went through what he went through for us, because it puts a lot of that innuendo to rest, and that's what we need to do. We always want to deal with the facts, especially when we're talking about a person and their livelihood. So,
For sure.
Yeah, because my thoughts are, if if it isn't part of TOS, it should be, and if it is, then he violated TOS, and he should be, dealt with what the punishment is for anybody who violates TOS in that way. Like you know, I don't, I can't speak for his ambassadorship, this and that, but just because, we say this even for the WSOP with things with DNEGs, like just because, an operator likes you doesn't mean you should get special treatment.
Right.
of course,
Yep.
of course. And, I think them looking at the histories of what, the click, so to speak, they'll be able to figure that out right quick. And, and quite honestly, do the right thing, and nobody's going to complain. Do the right thing. You find something, you take action. If you don't, you just make it public, transparency, right? And shut the folks up. So, um, but let's deal with the facts, people. Y'all know I'm about the facts. That's why they call me the sheriff here in the spaces. Donna, do you have any more questions for Drew?
Yeah, I'm going to get off Nachogate now. How have you got any Adams stories? Adam's a good friend of mine, and I want to know if you've got any juicy Adams stories.
Okay. This one is a little. It's not like dark bad, but it's like a. I guess I'll just share it. It was from the Thirst Lounge, and there was, gosh, there's some stories from just 2019 when when old Perkins put us all on this island. But there's this one story with Payday and I where I think Bill gave us an SUV to like drive around on the islands. And there was one night, I believe, we went and dropped someone or a couple people off at like the bars or something. And then we were driving back to the house, and there was this girl, uh, like walking in the middle of the road. It's like pitch dark. She was just walking in the pitch dark. We only saw her because our light was on. Lights were on the car. And we kind of like pulled up and was like, "Hey, are you all right?" And like thought maybe she was just drunk and trying to find her way home. And it was weird. We were like nervous to like fully open the window. Didn't want her to like puke in the car or something. I think I remember like him and I were we weren't drinking or partying this night, so we were just like chilling. And it's like, I don't know, don't open the door all the way. Uh, oh my gosh, wait. This was actually before, holy crap, before she got to the car. She was laying in the grass, like not like trying to take a nap. She was like laying face down, and we went over, like beeped, and then she like got up. And then she came to the car, but she didn't speak any words. She didn't do anything. And it was almost like she looked like a zombie. It was
How
crazy. And
creepy
then
is that?
it was super creepy. And then we're like, okay, well, just wait here. We're gonna go get some water, and we can come back and like take you wherever. We're gonna get some more people, make sure that it was safe. And we went, and then like Payday even stayed there. I think I ran back to the house, if I remember correctly. But I ran back to the house to get some water and maybe to tell people, get a phone or something like, hey, something's going on over here. And then I remember when I got back to Payday, basically he's like, bro, I was sitting right here waiting, and then she just like, again, wasn't speaking. She just like walked off into the dark, and he's like, she just literally disappeared, like right in front of him. And it was the weirdest thing, and it was like a scary moment. That's what I meant by like dark. I don't know why, but Adam and I like were the only two that even saw that happen. and we like to this day think it was like some sort of like ghost or something.
That is very bizarre. I
Yeah,
would have had to go to church the next day, I think.
we locked all the doors in the house
No
that night. You
shit.
better believe it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Go ahead, Isaac.
Hey, I was just curious though, Sinigang or Kare Kare?
Sinigang for sure.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah. Actually,
you
funny enough, I used to think it was Kare Kare for me, and then yeah, no, no, no. And
something
yo,
about it, man. I don't know.
and now another question is there a family recipe for bibinka, and can I have it?
You know what? I My mom didn't really expose us too much to that. There is a chicken adobo recipe for
Woo!
sure.
Let's go. That's
Sounds like
right.
we're having dinner at the next um, Punters Pad.
For sure. That's my number one thing I like to make for people is chicken adobo. And I actually have my mom's recipe in my Twitch chat as a command under like exclamation point adobo recipe, and it like brings it
I
up.
love it so much.
You on Twitch today? No worries.
Oh, it's so good. And I think it's written in mom too.
Oh,
Like a half a knuckle of sugar and like two
a
eye
palm of.
this.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good for you. Okay, Poker Out Loud. For those that may not know, was a Solve for Why cash game that players wore noise canceling headphone sets and verbalized their thought processes while they played the hand. Um, if you never watched those episodes, y'all need to do that because it's really an interesting experiment. Drew, can you tell us how it was to play a cash game under those rules?
It was a little bit nerve-wracking at first, I guess, because it's weird to speak out loud at a live poker table about your actions. And you had to I had to try to be at peace with, okay, I'm certain they can't hear me, and it's all good. So, because at first I was a little bit slow to speak, I think, or like trying to like hold my tone, but it seemed like no one really heard. And once I really got comfortable with it, it was still awkward, right? Because people are there and they're sitting and everyone's just trying to not listen. And not even a lot of times, I don't think people were looking because you could read lips.
Right,
So it's an interesting dynamic, but I do know that Ryan spoke way too loud and he was sitting next to me, so I had to turn my headset up because it's like, buddy, I can hear you. You don't have to scream. But it's tough to not scream because you have the noise you can't hear yourself, the headset is like drowning you out.
right, right. No, it's very like I've watched many episodes like when it was happening, and of course I watched an episode or two again this week just as a refresher to myself. And it really is interesting to hear the thought processes of you know folks that do this for a living, and very interesting. I highly recommend folks go back and listen to those. Um,
I just want to say real quick,
go
well
ahead,
before we
John.
change the subject, like Poker Out Loud is one of my favorite pieces of content to watch when I'm just trying to get in the right headspace of playing cards, and I'm glad that Drew spoke on that because I've always wondered, how much can you actually hear versus are people really afraid? There's a lot that goes on to it because like when you watch it, you want to believe that it's authentic and real, but there's a lot that makes you wonder if it is. So I appreciate you speaking on that because I do love Poker Out Loud.
Yeah, no, it's the way they do it is really cool. So we knew we were all going to be there for a day. They got us pizza, and it was like an event, right? We would have some breaks because some hands took like a lot of the hands took like 20 minutes. They were very very long. We took quite a few breaks, and yeah, it's we make sure that people can't hear. And I think with everyone in such an intimate situation, they want for it to be real. So like I didn't want to hear, even if I could, and like, oh no, I can't hear you guys, like, and I were to still be listening. It takes the fun out of the game, and I feel like people who go on this show want to have like a pure sample, like, okay, I'm going to sit here in front of these other players and I still want to play my best. And I personally just don't like little like angles and stuff like that. So obviously I can't speak to if other people had actually music playing. Like, I guess we kind of can't know, and if they could hear. But I think with the cast of people and for what they know the show is, it's all very real, and everyone wants it to be very real.
Well, and hopefully in the spirit of the whole setup, right? That they were going to go along with the program and do the right thing. And I think the group of people that were doing it, I think they were on board. And it was so interesting to hear their take and their point of view of how they were playing the hand and even the insight about what they thought their opponent had or didn't have or what they were going to do on the turn or the river or whatever. I just loved it. I think it's a great thing to watch, and it kind of also, I think, can help you train your own mind of what your self-talk should be during a poker game, especially for the newer players. What do you think about that?
I think so. I think it's great. And even on the season, the vlogger season that, like myself, it was the rapper, it was Greg Goes All In, it was Matt Vaughn, it was myself, and it was Ryan. Was there some? Oh, there was, and then there was another poker vlogger. I haven't seen him putting out videos in a while, but we were six-handed.
Right.
And I think just that range of players there, I really feel like newer players and more experienced players can connect, because there was me who went into it very well knowing like I want to communicate myself simple, especially knowing that Matt was there, Matt Vaughn. So
Right.
he definitely offered a higher level way of thinking that you could like organize and approach the game, and he did it well. He communicated it well. I thought, even though people in the comments would troll him for talking so much and going so long, I think that was part of his character. I think it was like perfect within the framing of everything, and so you get a really nice taste of what Ryan's thoughts were like. A little bit more of
Yes.
all over the place thinking, sporadic, but you could see the way he got to points. And then mine was a different shade. Matt's was a different shade. Greg's was a different shade. That was a really good cast, but I think a lot of people can like find a character that they connect with.
Love it. It's so good for the game of poker. Go ahead, Isaac.
Yo, I was just laughing at some YouTube shorts from this the other day too. They always be like, that puts this squarely in a checking range, puts this squarely in a calling range, puts this square. Yo, it's great. It's great to listen to though, because I mean, if it was me, right, I sound like a maniac. But it's cool. For real, I'll be over here like, you don't fucking got it. I know you don't fucking got it, right? But
Yeah.
like to hear like analytical thoughts, right? Just one lets me know I have issues, and two that I got to study and do better. So it's great. It's great.
I love you so much, Isaac. Go ahead, ASG.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to, I guess, get your opinions in general. Not not with the latest news, but just like it feels like last year, like a ton of bot stories came out, and then there's the GTO, and then there's the you know people possibly card sharing and this and that, and regulation seems to be very under the table, if it's having it all, or whatever you want to call it, where it's not very transparent. So I just wanted to get your views on like where you think online poker is headed, that kind of thing. Like, as a rec player, I don't feel comfortable playing online, like, so I just wanted to get your views on online poker as a whole.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I think that's a good question, and honestly, I would. Uh, I hope to really give some valuable words here, throughout this whole space, and at anytime I'm talking about poker to recreational players and newer players. I think there's a lot of the experienced players. They've formed opinions and they, get their news where they get their news. But I do think it's easy to kind of overshadow and forget sometimes about like people who are still a bit earlier at a different stage in their journey with poker, right? So I could see how a recreational player from the outside looking in, like seeing all this stuff, is like, oh, I'm just going to go play live or do this, and it can be very intimidated by online poker. And I think it makes sense. I think it's totally justified. It's like when I first found out about crypto, I was scared. I was like, oh my gosh, people put money here, and then I have to have this password for this, and then I put this to this and all this. I was like, this is how I move my money. I was like, this is crazy. And that was maybe 2019 or so, or 2020, that I got like heavily exposed to it. Maybe 2019, probably. But as far as like online poker, where it's at now, where it's progressing, I think that we have gone through a lot of the big growth points. Just even from COVID was 2020, there was a lot of server issues during that time, and a lot of crazy stuff. Even not just, I'm not just even speaking ACR here. I'm speaking my experience with online poker, because in 2020 I was living in Canada, so I had access to all the sites. And I remember GG had to cancel a bracelet event. It was a charity COVID event or something. They had to like cancel day 2 or something, some server issues. But GG wasn't the only one. Like a bunch of people during COVID, with everyone home, attacking the internet data space. I'm not really good with like these types of technical words, but we went through that phase, and then we went through multiple phases, and then the bots thing, which that is not just again an ACR thing, because there's a lot of people in this direct circle, and if you just can play on ACR and you're an American, you're not, unless you follow people outside of America, the algorithm is not going to show you all the people who are complaining about PokerStars or 888 or Natural 8 or GG. You're going to see all the people complaining about ACR, which is very interesting, because I just kind of learned about this a bit more recently and started to see on some of my feeds. It's like, oh wow, I'm not exposed to, like, everyone complains as much about like every site. It's crazy. But that to say that I think online poker is kind of progressing towards a better space together, and different operators are having issues at like different times, right? So I'm wondering, like, what other things can actually happen with online poker that aren't already kind of being solved for, or already on their road to getting better. And I think for me personally, when I put myself in like a recreational poker player's shoes, who maybe wants to play a little bit more poker, but the overhead of driving to your closest club and then paying the seat fees, you just don't want the overhead, right? You want to play online, you want to get some hands, you want to chill out, you want to watch some Netflix at the same time. I think that a comfortable space for like new online players to play is to start off. You can play on a lot of these sites for free. You don't even have to put any money. And you could just, I mean, really pretty much treat it like you have some, I have some money to gamble. Maybe I don't want to go to the movie theater tonight and spend 50, $100. I'm going to put it online. And I think I'm not going to be able to convince someone, oh, you should like play online poker. It's great, whatever. So I'll say this, because I think it'll be more valuable to you all, is take an amount of money that you would have gone out to party with for a weekend, or recreational money, and then if you want to try online poker, then put that on and know that, okay, if I lose, I lose. It is what it is. If the internet disappears tomorrow, it is what it is, because I can't project and know what's going to happen in the future with online poker. I do believe that, from what I can see from my point, that everyone is trying hard to now, because of all the community speaking up over the issues and the way things now, I would say, in the last few years get covered on Twitter specifically. I think that we're headed in a good direction. I think that recreational players who are unsure should manage their risk, but I hate to think that you can't enjoy the entertainment of playing poker because you're concerned about XYZ. Like, I don't like thinking about that, but I think it's very real. And I have to, honestly, my poker career started playing a little bit live, but then mostly it was online. And I know what playing online poker has done for me in my life. And as a professional, not just paying bills and all this other stuff, but as a gamer, as somebody who's been into sports my whole life, poker has online poker, because I didn't have access to live poker for a lot of my younger years in the game. Online poker allowed for me to exercise my competitiveness in my brain and my spirit when I couldn't play sports anymore. Online poker exercised that for me and allowed for me to compete versus other people. It has allowed for me to even just step away from when I was playing recreationally myself. I would work 50, 60 hours a week with Enterprise Rent a Car. I worked with for like 2 years. And I remember, just being just absolutely wrecked at the end of the day. But man, you know what? I just wanted to gamble a little bit. I just wanted to see some cards. I just wanted to peel two after my hard day at work. And I want to play my $5 MTT and then just see if I can spin it up, right? Like the feeling of those moments are so treasured for me that I would hate for somebody else to miss out on that because of all the drama and things that they see on Twitter. Because it's really, I feel like these problems, these issues, these mistakes, whatever they are, it's not even just online poker. It's not even just this business. Like other businesses have this. It might feel a little bit more magnified because of poker and its presence, like in our intimate poker community on Twitter. There's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad, but I really hope that people can, lock arms and still be confident to play online. It's done a lot for me, and I think that it can be great for other people. It's enjoyable, it's a fun game, and I'm here if anyone has any questions. I know we're doing it now. I always want to try to help with, these questions and anything else. So feel free to reach out to me at any time.
I love that. And let's face it, not every game in the world is for everybody, right? And so if this isn't for you, it's okay. Like, go do what's for you. We know there are thousands of people on a daily basis playing online poker. And guess what? That's their choice and good for them. And all of it is okay and correct because everybody's doing what they want to do for the right reasons. And, God bless everybody. Enjoy. I want to know how many hands of poker you've played online, Drew.
I have played, I believe the number at this point is 2 million hands. I'm in the 2 million hand range.
And you started that journey how many years ago?
I started playing to make a living in 2010, but I played shortly after the moneymaker boom. I started playing online a little bit, not even close to the amount that I played since 2010, but I played a little bit since 2004 or 5 in that area.
Well, you'll be happy to know I'm coming after your job. I've played probably a whopping 200 hands. So look out, here I come. Not really. I'm never going to be an online player because I get too bored. I want to poke my eyes out, slit my throat. And no, I can't play more than one game at a time. I made that mistake once and ended up on two final tables at the same time. And I thought I was going to lose my mind. It's just not for me. But those of you that find joy in it, I'm so happy for you. I want to sit down at a card table and have a social event. Um, Isaac, did you have something you wanted to say, my friend?
No, I mean, well, actually, I was gonna ask, Drew, do you play on Club GG at all?
I have. I'm in a couple of clubs. Like if there's something going on with friends or whatever, like I play occasionally. Yeah.
Okay, dope, dope. See, you see, Sherry,
Hey,
Club GG is a good
hey,
place.
Isaac, you're welcome. He's trying to convince me to come. Isaac's involved with a group of folks. It's called the Green Visor Gang, and he's been trying to convince me to come on to Club GG to play. And like I've said earlier, I'm just not an online player, and it's okay. And I love Isaac, and I love the invitation, but I just get too bored. Like I want to be up and doing stuff, and I want to be amongst the people. Go
Oh,
ahead,
well,
John.
you know what the element is that's missing right there, though, Sherry. And I think
What?
one of the biggest reasons we haven't gotten you in there, like for real, is you've never been in a voice chat,
Oh,
right, with a
but
few people while playing,
no,
have you?
yeah, when I did the radio show on Flophouse, We started it in during COVID, and the whole attraction to it was we were on the radio playing this game. There were four hosts playing this poker game, and people could chat with us in the chat, and we would be telling them, we would read out on air what they would be saying in their chats and talking shit to them, and then they would talk shit to us in the chat. So yes, and I love that element, but I'm just telling you, like the other day when I was in that tournament for so many hours, I made the mistake. I had no clue it would take that many hours with 700 and whatever players. um I I just was losing my mind. I was like, I've got shit I could be doing. Like I could be like vacuuming right now, or I need to go to the bank, or you know what I mean? Like, oh, I couldn't do it. Like if I go to play poker at a casino, I know this time is dedicated to poker. Like I'm here for the next, I'm gonna play lot cash for the next 15 hours. You know what I mean? And it's just different. And I've
I hear you. I hear you because you know what? What you just said is so valid. Like there's so many times when I'm playing and I got a million things to do. They'll be like, "Damn it, this next hand."
Yeah, and
Yeah,
maybe the
yeah.
mom and it's the mom and dad in us, right? That it's about time management. So anyway, as much as I've enjoyed and I've actually done well online, it's just not my cup of tea. Um, Donna, any more questions or comments for Drew?
Yeah. What you looking forward to this year in your poker journey? Is there anything exciting that you've got coming up?
Yeah, actually, it's funny that you would ask that question, Miss Donna, because I'm looking forward to this trip to Montreal to go up and play at Playground for the first time. And it's funny because Payday, Adam is going. So it's going to be me, Party, Maddie from the Thirst Lounge, and Payday. We're all going to be staying at John's place in Montreal. And I forget who, I might have been talking in my stream about this, but this trip feels different. Like I go on a handful of poker trips, a few poker trips, quite a few, I guess, over the course of a year, and they don't feel like work. I would be, even though it is, but it's not. It's really interesting, but it's not work. But this trip feels different because we didn't have to go here to play, but the boys just found time, and it's almost like it's a boys' trip or a boys' vacation, and not having to go somewhere and planning to go, it feels like I'm going on the first vacation that I've gone in a like long time. I don't know, like legit, maybe 20 years since I feel like I've maybe 2010. No, I've gone on vacation before that. Maybe at least 10 years, let's say. 10 years plus since I've consciously gone somewhere
Are
to
you
do.
going up for a series or just for whatever they have going on?
They have the WSOP circuit is up there at Playground. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to go to John's place in Montreal on, I believe it's like the 21st. We're going to drive to Verona. We're going to drive into New York and play the WSOP circuit main event at Turning Stone.
Nice.
And then when we bust or win that, we're going to drive back to Montreal. And then that's the beginning of the circuit series up at Playground.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I've been invited to go up for that. I don't think I'll be able to make it, but I hope you guys have a great time. We Pro, how are you, honey? How's Mama doing?
Hi, Sherry. She is doing okay. She's sat over here just a few feet away from me. I
Well,
think she might be playing a game on her phone or something.
I continue to pray for her. Welcome. And did you have a comment or question for Drew?
Um, my mom said she appreciates the prayers.
Absolutely.
No questions. I just wanted to say hello, handsome. How are you?
Hi,
It's been
Wee.
a while.
It's good to see
I
you.
likewise. I hope you and Hannah are well.
Thanks, we are, and I hope you're well. And I'm giving you an air hug right now. Actually,
I
it's
appreciate
going
that.
around the phone. Okay.
Thank you. You guys are at like 4 years, right? You're on your 4 year mark.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to double check my notes. I'm really bad at dates. I keep a note. By the way, gentlemen, I have notes that I keep on my phone of important things with Hannah, like when we first started dating and all this other stuff. And Cat. So 3/18/21 is when we became
Nice.
Official.
boyfriend girlfriend. So that is, oh, we're coming up on 4 years. Yeah,
You
we're close.
are.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
Good.
awesome.
Sweet.
Do
Well,
you
congrats.
celebrate
I'm glad
Valentine's
you
Day?
guys are still going solid, even coming up on 4 years. It's been over 4 years, but I know like the official date is that. Like for Lee and
Uh,
I, it's kind of the same. We are at 5 years.
oh, okay.
Oh God, we're at 5 years in 2 weeks.
Guys, I have to share you how Hannah and I, now that we're here, now I know so this is so funny. Okay, guys, I have to tell you. Actually, my girlfriend now, Hannah, Jolie Poker on ACR, she was in, so we was doing group slot pulls a lot. This was, I believe, during COVID. Yes, it was, because I was in Toronto living with Arlie and John, and I was watching we stream. I might have been on the polls, I don't remember, but I remember I showed up to her stream, and there was a girl who was not in the poker community on the Google call, the video call, and she had, I remember it, guys. Well, even anyone, spouses, significant others. You remember that moment when you first see someone, right? And I remember I saw her, and she was kind of like low lighting, but she had these like big school teacher oversized glasses on or something. I don't know, but she was just some girl that I didn't know that was there to like degen and get in on the slot pull with we. So at this point, I was kind of banning girls from my life for a little while. Like, I just need to focus on me. And then something the next day after this stream, I remember it very specifically. It was Sunday, and I was chopping up beef. I was making me and the boys some like crock pot meal for like later in the Sunday grind, because we would all be streaming, and then there would just be food there. And I remember I was chopping the meat, and I was like, man, I'm gonna ask WePro who that girl was, right? And then I had the courage, and I was like, oh, I hated it too, fellas. I like, something in my stomach. I was like, I couldn't believe I was doing it. And then I asked her. I was like, okay, who's this girl? I have to know. And then so WePro goes into this mode. She's like, okay, here we go. We're like, she's gonna set this up. I was like, I got this, right? She's like, oh, I'll get her socials. Don't worry, I'll tell her you said what's up. And it was all very playful and super funny now to think about. But so WePro gave me her socials, and I followed Hannah on both on Instagram and Twitter. But I'm just a chill guy, I'm a bit shy, a bit introverted the majority of the time, and I followed her. I hit her back to back, so she knew I said what's up, but I didn't actually say what's up. I was like, I'm not saying anything. I was like, I took the first step. I need to breathe for a little bit. I need to relax. And so what's funny, and she hit me up first, man. You know what? Twitter had stories for like a month, and it was a very short period of time. And I posted on my Twitter story, Christmas dinner. I like ordered out or something, and I posted, and boys reeled her in. She replied to my story on Twitter, and then boom, boom, that was it. And this was all, I feel like, thanks to WePro, like her stream, her just like kind of connecting it. And here we are 4 years later. So that's so funny. She would know it's been longer than 4 years. She's like, Drew, it's been longer than 4 years, buddy. I know.
Oh yeah, I'm like a fly on shit with that. That sounds exactly how, yeah, and how things went with that from my memory. And yeah, he's right. I was like hound dog mode.
I love
I
it.
she's I don't know if you guys have seen Hannah, but she's a gorgeous little thing. And I could see why Drew was like, hey, we.
She's a beautiful young lady, and you guys make such a cute couple. Love
Oh,
it.
They do. I'm like so proud of like being able to do one good thing in my life with like online streaming and stuff. Like I consider that one of like the good things that I did or whatever. Not to toot my own horn, but just saying like I've done some really cringy shit over the years when I streamed, and that wasn't one of them. That was like something that actually felt good. So
Good for you,
yeah.
we. Good for you. That's awesome. Well, Karen, I'm going to come back to you. Or is Karen shown as a listener to you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. She had to jump off. All right, John Robertson. Any last questions or comments for Drew? Because I promised him he could get on to his tournament.
Oh, sure. Okay, I'll try to keep it quick. Is my mic on?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So the first time I interacted with you, Drew, was a few years ago. You were trying to find Poker Go Classic on Poker, or you were trying to find WSLP Poker on Classic on Poker Go, and you couldn't find it. So you offered a tournament ticket to somebody on ACR if they helped you. So I got that ticket. I'm really happy about that. But I wanted to lead that up to what if you were making a highlight reel of the best moments of Poker Go or Poker WSOP Poker Classic, what would you choose? Because I think that was like the golden era of poker content. And I was like, what do you think are some of the best moments from the original ESPN World Series of Poker content?
So I'm such a fan of poker. I like these questions, and I hope a lot of people too always keep this like fan and this like young, like spirited child almost like energy towards the game. But I love this question because there's so many like good memories like of excitement. It's like, oh, I want to do that. I want to play that tournament. I remember there was a hand with a younger dude. He's wearing I can't remember his name right now, but he has Ace Queen, and it's the more classic lineup, or the classic production. So you don't really see much information. It doesn't overcomplicate it, but it just shows. His name starts with a G, but he has Ace 10 on Ace 10. Let's say 7 4 or something, Ace 10 7 4. This guy's got two pair, and then his opponent has Ace Queen, so he's got top pair, but he is, as he's talking through the hand, the guy with the two pair, he goes, well, he's like very confident, but he's like, if you have if you call, you need a queen. He's like, if you call, you need a queen. And he's all like very talkative and bantering. And then the guy's like, okay. He's like, I call. And then they flip over the hands. He's like, see, I know you needed a queen. He's got a big smile. And then the river comes a queen, gives the guy a better two pair. And then you see his face, and everybody feels it just drop. It goes from chatty Cathy to like just ghost face, worst thing ever. And that's like one of the big moments that I remember for sure. Geez, there's so many. This could go for like, we could do this all night, John.
Right.
Oh no, I know. I could talk about the old classic stuff forever. I was curious. I know you were a fan, so that's why I wanted to ask that. Just real quick, my personal favorite is in the 2003 season when Phil Hellmuth and Sam Grizzle go at it. I love like that whole episode is probably my favorite episode of all of it.
That was great too. I remember that one for sure because Sam, you could tell he knows and that he's getting under his skin, and it's just it's kind of beautiful in a sense if you like kind of appreciate the game on that level, the psychology part of it, because I don't really think either of them are too bothered. Phil is definitely at least some, but I think he's aware also, right? So those psychological battles from back in the day on those broadcasts were so good.
Love it. Karen Chess, any last comments or questions, ma'am?
Oh, I just want to say again, sorry, I lost my connection earlier, but I really enjoyed, listening to all this and getting to know Drew better. And I can't wait to see that video, Drew. And that's really it.
Sweet.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
I dropped a video link in the comments here, so you could see that one. And if anyone else wants to see the Matt Affleck coaching video, I dropped that in there as well.
I highly recommend it, people.
Great. I love that.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Karen. WePro, any last comments or questions?
No, I'm drawing a blank.
That's okay.
Just glad that we could do like a really quick catch up, even though it was on public discussion space. But I'm glad to hear that you're doing well, Drew. And guys, he's like one of the best people in the poker community you could ever come across. Like he's just a solid human being. He always has been to me, at least. I can only speak about my experiences with him, but he's amazing. So
Ditto. Ditto on those comments. ASG, any last questions or comments?
Yeah, just wanted to say I was actually not talking about ACR, but like just the general Russian bot forum stories that were coming out last year. I don't know if you heard about them. I know
Yep.
Jack Poker was involved, and yeah, I don't know if they named any other or if any sites really got named, but it was a crazy story. And
Yeah.
yeah, and then when you're talking about the old times, I don't know if it was him, but it felt like every year there was some kind of crazy JRV that beat WSOP.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
JR.
He's good.
He is good and he's so funny. Like you have to listen because he's kind of soft spoken. So you really have to like pay attention and listen to catch, he's got jokes for sure. Donna, any last questions or comments, love?
No, just good luck in Montreal, and say hi to Adam for me. And thank you for coming on and being open and honest about things. Refreshing change.
Of course, it's been my pleasure getting on and chatting, and yeah, I hope I answered some questions well, and hopefully, we're a little bit more excited about poker after this. And also, John, I see your Bulbasaur stuff. That's pretty sick. I just noticed it.
He posted a picture, you guys, so check it out. Drew, it's been a pleasure. I hope you do me the honor of another interview in the future when some new stuff is going on that we can catch up on. And maybe by then there'll be wedding bells, but you didn't hear that from me. No pressure whatsoever. But I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join the family here in Spaces. We appreciate you and what you stand for in the world of poker. We need more folks like you, that is for sure. So thank you, Drew.
Thanks so much, everyone. I appreciate it.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you. Have a good weekend, everybody. Good night.